Hey, this is Josh with Budget Mechanic. Today I have with me my old beater, 2004 Kia Rio, that I just use as a work vehicle. It doesn't get driven very much. The other day I got in, hadn't driven in a couple months, and all of a sudden I was going down the road, the AC started blowing warm, checked the coolant gauge, and the car was overheating, almost to the hot mark. So I quick pulled it over, turned it off, because you never want to drive your car while it's overheating. That's how you destroy your engine. So I left it, let it cool down. I came back, I checked the radiator, because that's always the first thing that I check, and sure enough, it was bone dry. So I filled it up with water, because I didn't want to put coolant in, waste money on coolant that was going to leak out again, and drove it home. So now I have to figure out where my coolant's going, because I'm pretty conscientious about checking my fluids, and up until this point, I hadn't smelt anything weird, I didn't see any leaking or dripping, so it's a little odd that all of a sudden, the car is out of coolant. So today, we're going to figure out what's going on and what we need to do to fix it. So there's a lot of reasons your car can overheat. And we have a great video on overheating and how to diagnose all the issues. You can check it out right here. But my radiator had no coolant in it, so I know it's a coolant leak. Now I wasn't seeing any big signs of dripping or spraying. I wasn't smelling any coolant, which has a really distinct odor. So I know that this is going to probably be a pretty slow leak and hard to detect. As a side note, if you are smelling something, we have a really great video on all the smells that your car can make and how to diagnose those. You can check it out right here. But on this car, we've got to figure out where the coolant is going. So what we want to do is get the car up to operating temperature before we start checking for leaks. Because a lot of leaks won't even manifest until the car is hot and everything expands. So we get the car up to operating temperature, which is where the needle on the temperature gauge normally rides when everything's working normally. And we're literally going to take a flashlight and look around, check every hose, the radiator, anywhere that there could be a water leak, dripping, spraying, wet spots. That's what we're looking for. Big trouble areas are usually these big hoses. Upper and lower radiator hoses are the big fat ones. There's one at the top, one at the bottom. They like to split open. There's lots of little coolant hoses that go in behind the engine. The water pump is a common place for leaking. Usually that'll manifest by a drip. It'll be dripping out the bottom and you'll be able to look under the car and see it dripping. The water pump's in there. And there's a lot of wet spots on this engine, but I know that it's oil. I've been dealing with oil leaks on this thing forever, but I don't see any coolant. Another really common area on these old cars is the plastic of the radiator on the top will split, and you'll start to see coolant in like the top edges. It'll get wet there, but I don't see anything going on. Okay, so just a note while you're checking for leaks when the car is up to temperature and running. When the car did overheat and I first checked it, I did see splashing around the overflow. So this is the radiator overflow, and it had been forced out of the top of this, which isn't really a leak. It's kind of inconclusive because that's what the system is designed to do. Your radiator cap here is designed at high pressures to release the excess pressure into this overflow tank. So it doesn't necessarily mean a whole lot other than one thing you also want to check is that your radiator cap is not failing, because if that fails, it will allow coolant out of your system even at normal operating temperatures. So one way to check that is just pull this hose off. There's usually a little nipple right next to the radiator cap. You find this hose that goes from the top of the radiator to the reservoir. You pull it off, and when the car is up to operating temperature and running, there shouldn't be any water or coolant coming out of this. But if it is, that means that your cap is potentially letting coolant out and it's leaking out that way. When you're checking for leaks, don't forget that coolant can leak inside the cab through your heater core. And the way that that usually shows up is wet carpets, usually on the passenger side, but also check on the driver's side. So if that it's like a little radiator inside your dash, if that starts leaking, coolant will actually get inside into your carpets. Okay, so I didn't find any leaks with the car running, no outward signs. So I'm going to move on to this little budget tip, which is a radiator or a radiator cap pressure tester. You can get these for free. You borrow them from a local auto parts store. And basically it applies a little bit of pressure to your whole system without the car running. And that way you can hear leaks, little hissing sounds, and it'll also just tell you overall whether or not you actually do have a leak in the coolant system. Okay, so the way that this works is you're going to hook this up in place of your radiator cap. Now obviously don't take your radiator cap off if the car is hot. You'll get burned. One little trick I do, if it's not quite all the way cooled off, I'll just take it off with a rag just in case there's a little bit of steam that wants to escape. I don't get burned, but this is all good. So you find the right adapter from the kit that fits your radiator. Plug that sucker in just like a radiator cap. Then the pump goes on. And then you slide the spring. So I'm going to pump it up to about 18 psi, which is kind of the max you want to do before you start getting into the caution area. You don't want to blow hoses. This is really cool because the car doesn't have to be hot, doesn't have to be running, but this simulates that pressure that comes from the water pump running and the heat. Okay, so I've got it up to 20 psi, and now I'm doing two things. I'm just going to let it sit and see if this needle goes down. If this needle comes down, it means there's a leak somewhere and pressure is escaping, which confirms my leak theory. Also, I'm listening for hissing sounds anywhere in the system of where air or water would be escaping. So I left the pressure tester connected for 10 to 15 minutes, and not only did I not hear or see any leaks, but also the needle on the gauge went down maybe 1 psi over that time, which is not enough to indicate an external leak. So that means it's probably going to be an internal coolant leak. So that's coolant getting into the engine cylinder, or into the oil, or into the transmission. So as always, we want to start with the easiest checks first, and that's going to be checking the oil. That's easy to do. Pulling our dipstick and making sure that there's oil on the end of the dipstick, like this, looking good. What you don't want to see is milky white oil. That means that coolant is getting into your oil, probably through your head gasket. Next thing I want to check is my transmission fluid. It's a little more rare, but in some cars, the transmission fluid actually runs through the radiator, and if it internally breaks, you can get coolant into your transmission. So if your car's like mine, you don't actually have a transmission dipstick, which makes it a little more difficult to actually inspect the oil. But most cars are going to have some kind of a filler plug or a drain plug that you can crack open, get a couple drips out, and check the color there. So I can see that the transmission fluid is a normal color and doesn't have any milkiness to it, so there's no coolant in my transmission. So having eliminated the possibility of coolant getting into the oil or the transmission, all signs are pointing towards coolant leaking into the cylinder through the head gasket. And if you had a big head gasket leak and you were burning a lot of coolant, you would see steam in your exhaust and you'd smell it. But with a slow head gasket leak, you may never notice. So another tool you can get for free at an auto parts store with their tool loaning program is a compression tester. This little guy basically measures the pressure inside each of your cylinders. You put this in spark plug hole and it gives you your pressure. What we're interested in testing for a head gasket leak is the pressures of the cylinders that are adjacent to each other. So I'm going to test all 4 of these cylinders, and I'm going to see if 1 or 2 of them are drastically different, and that would indicate a leak, which is basically the explosion power is leaking out of the gasket and into my coolant, or vice versa, instead of powering the piston. So we're just going to go down the line and pull out all of these spark plugs and test each cylinder. So we're going to do one at a time. I'm going to pull my coil pack end off, get my spark plug socket. Now, obviously this is way easier on a 4-cylinder because all the cylinders are nice and exposed up top. 6 cylinders is going to be much harder. Making sure that the fitting at the end matches the thread and size of the spark plug. We now thread it into the hole. We're ready to test. Because we want to crank the engine over to see the pressure, but we don't want the engine to start. So you need to disconnect your coils. In my case, it's just going to be these wires off the coils. Basically, you just want the engine to crank but not start up. So that'll do it. So I'm going to crank the engine for probably 10 seconds, or if you have an assistant watching the gauge, you just need it till the gauge stops rising and holds steady. So unfortunately, that compression test was inconclusive, because I mean, 5 psi difference on one cylinder isn't really outside the realm of normal. So again, this is a very small head gasket leak. But because there's no leaks externally, and nothing in my oil, nothing in my transmission, I know that it's going in to the cylinder somehow. So what I need is a head gasket job. But head gasket repairs are very expensive, time consuming if you do them yourself. And as you can see, this car is not really worth the time and expense of a head gasket. So I have one more budget option, which is a head gasket sealer. Now, I don't normally love sealers and quick fixes, but again, I'm not going to do that job on this car, so this is my only option. And Blue Devil is the one I like for head gaskets. It's got a really good track record. It's one of the OGs for head gasket sealers. They have a guarantee. So we're going to go this route. And whatever brand you use, just make sure you follow the instructions really well. Use the right amount for your engine size. And I'm going to go ahead and use this. I'm going to replace the water with coolant, and I'm going to drive this thing around for 3 or 4 weeks and keep a really close eye on that coolant, make sure it's not dropping. Okay guys, there's been a development. We are changing plans. In order to put in the Blue Devil sealant, I had to pull the coil pack and the air hose off to get to the thermostat in order to remove it first. In doing so, I revealed the upper radiator hose end that I couldn't see before. And I noticed that there was all this residue, it looked like coolant residue. The hose clamp was rusted, and the hose was kind of bulging, which is a sign of a failing hose. So I redid the pressure test, and when I pumped it all the way up to the max again, sure enough, little droplets of water started coming out. So my only thought is why this leak didn't show up in that pressure test is because when the car is running at full temperature, the rubber would be softer, and therefore the leak could be worse. It's very small, but it's enough of a leak that I think this is the problem. So I'm going to go ahead and replace this upper radiator hose, and I'm going to hold off on the head gasket sealer for now because I'm pretty sure this is my problem. Here at Budget Mechanic, we are really striving to make content that is helpful to you and saves you tons of money. And if we're making you a latte, you might throw us a tip if it was awesome. But on YouTube, you just have to hit that like, subscribe button, comment, and it's kind of the same thing, but it's easy and free for you. So, thanks for watching this video, and there's more to come. Follow along.